Do you hate living in modern society? Do you hate working to survive? Would you like to journey to the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism? Then join me in anyway, hi guys. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about Citizen Sleeper, which, much like Tears of the Kingdom, I actually finished, way before I've been actually, recording this. So, I don't have a lot of specifics. And I know I said that last time, and that video was, an hour long. But this time, I really don't have much. And frankly, I wouldn't have had much to say, even at the time. Just kind of spoilers. It's just a good game. The game's real good, but I don't have much specific to talk about. So thankfully, because I'm recording this right after doing Tears of the Kingdom, this video is going to be a lot shorter. So just to set up real quick, Citizen Sleeper, you play as this mostly robotic cyborg in the far future, in a spacefaring society far future. But the thing is that these cyborgs are made and owned by corporations, and they can only survive by taking special medicine provided by those corporations. You know, capitalism. And so you play as this one sleeper, which is what these guys are called, who escapes from his company and finds themselves on this kind of Halo ring type of deal of this ring space station, and you just have to essentially do your best to survive. First of all, this game, if you're into RPGs or TTRPGs, any sort of that type of stuff, play this game. Just don't even watch the rest of the video. Play this game. The game's awesome, and it very much plays into those role-playing type of stuff. The game is centered around a day cycle, and every day you roll a certain amount of dice, and the amount of dice is determined by your energy, which is determined by how much food you eat and how much medicine you're intaking. And so you roll the dice every day, and that determines how many things you can do, but then also how well you do those things. And they're pre-rolled, which I personally really like. It makes the randomness of the dice rolls feel not unfair, so that's great personally. But then speaking of those other mechanics, it plays into you really get to make your choices. It isn't just dialogue trees or whatever. You actually have to choose, am I going to go do this to make some money? Am I going to go do this to get some food? Am I going to go do this to get medicine? Am I going to go do this to progress some sort of story? Because there's a bunch of different character narratives and stuff. And it's very much it, especially with the roles and the day system and the medicine, all of these systems come together. It really makes the space station feel alive and it's evolving day to day, but it makes the players' choices of things to do and also what they don't do matter, you know? So it's if you chose not to get medicine on this day, you're risking having less rolls on the next day or whatever. So it's it's very cool, and it's much more player choice centric compared to a lot of games that kind of promote themselves as such, you know? It's very much you're actually choosing stuff, and with the rolls, the rolled dice, it's also a risk versus reward deal, where it's oh, do I want to use my 6 die on this thing or this other thing? Do I want to risk this one using my 4 or whatever, that type of stuff? It's a very compelling system, but then also it's a very quick game. You can very easily finish it in a day, and it's one of those things that you're also very much encouraged to play again because of the fact that you actually change stuff in the world and everything. the stories there's like a bunch of different like narratives going on with like a bunch of different characters, and they're all like pretty interesting. They're all like pretty cool. I really like Sabine, who's the doctor who you at least initially get medicine from. I think they're cool. I like their design. I think they have a neat thing happening, and also like they're just like non-binary, which is very neat to see them just be non-binary, because it was one of those things where I was like playing the game and then I suddenly was like, wait, they're only using they them pronouns for those characters. Are they non-binary? They're cool. Love them. Fun design, love that. I also really liked Lem and Mina. I think Mina's adorable. And I think like just like the dynamic they have going, and then the dynamic that they kind of build with your character is very nice. It's very cute. And in my notes, I don't have any specifics on this. I just have NeoVend33. But from a quick glance, it looked like I was making a little heart emoticon, which is an accurate representation of how I feel about this vending machine. I love it. Yeah. Overall, I pretty much just have like positives to say about this game. My biggest issue is very much a personal issue. It's just that it doesn't have any voice acting, which is something where like I've got like issues and problems. I don't do a good job of reading, and so games that make me strictly read, I tend to zone out from or kind of like check out, and also like stuff that's like it's only in subtitles, that type of stuff. But that's a me issue personally. But also to say, this game still very much enraptured me. I was very much still caught up in it despite that. But like that's like really my biggest issue I have with this game. My other issue is also a personal issue of I encountered a major bug that completely soft blocked me out of continuing the game at all, which is unfortunate. However, I did check like the wiki and stuff, and based on the progression I had in a couple of different storylines, I essentially was at the end of a bunch of them, and if I had chosen to do so, I could have finished a couple of them like the next day. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna count this as being finished, despite that major soft block. So like, that's not super ideal, but the fact that that can happen to me and I can still be like, oh, this game was fantastic, should tell you a lot. Alright, hey guys. I have some additional points to make. Yeah, if you can't tell, this is recorded later than the rest of the video, and that's because this video took a while to actually get around to, because the Tears of the Kingdom video took like a week to do all that editing, and then I was taking an intentional break because I was vacationing, but some things have come up since then. So yeah, there's some other stuff I'm gonna talk about more in the little like end credit thingy, except there's no actual credits running. But I do have some additional points that I wanted to make because I played through most of the game with one of my friends while I was vacationing. Actually, I was talking to them about this video actually, and they were just like, well, do you want to just play that? So we did that. And we got through most of it. We didn't quite finish it, again, which is unfortunate. However, I got to see some slightly different stuff, and I got to see a bit of the pre-DLC, which I didn't really get into at all in my original attempt of a playthrough. So yeah, just wanted to talk about that stuff. So first, I wanted to mention just the vibes of this game. I'm shocked I didn't say it anywhere in this video originally. Just like the aesthetic and also the music, the musical, the auditory vibes, phenomenal. Really, just like really hits it at that like kind of cyberpunk dystopia vibe. I think it's all really great. And also shout out to Amos Radi, who did the soundtrack. I think it was pretty good. I think it was pretty solid. I think it does suffer a little bit from being a bit too ambient background music, so it kind of fades out of you noticing it a lot of the times. However, I think it's still pretty good, and it's an indie game, so I love to shout out indie game artists of any kind, so I wanted to mention that. Also, something I realized when I was actually making this video, I really wish there was character profiles somewhere, just like, because there's nowhere in the game for you to be able to just like pull up a character's profile and see like some information about them and their story and like their art.
there's just nowhere to do that in the game, and with a game that has a bunch of different characters that you're supposed to care about a lot, it just feels a bit odd, and it's something I really hope is added in the sequel. Also, speaking of characters, there's actually another non-binary character in this game, Peaks, who's neat. They're part of the DLC story stuff, and also I love Eshe, who is with them. I love Eshe a lot. They're just pretty. That's it. So, I also have learned that this game was a single-person dev, at least as far as I can tell, and they're non-binary, which is, again, just real cool. I think that's awesome. I think that's sick. I do have one additional little critique, and that's that I wish there was, like, a button you could press to jump straight to your home, because eventually you unlock quite a bit of VI, which is the space station you're on, and it's just, like, you can get pretty far away from your home, but then at the end of the day, you still have to manually maneuver all the way back down. And it's just kind of a little annoying, especially once you unlock the two segments that are like separated that you have to intentionally press buttons to get into and out of. So that's just one little thing there. But that's all I have to add from the future. Ultimately, despite the game not liking me, I had a very good time playing this one. I literally replayed it. Which, if you watch my original video on the backlog, you would know that that's kind of a big deal. And that's mostly owed to the fact that it's so easy to play through again, and, you know, your choices actually matter. So that is great. It's something that I liked a lot, but I do still see areas where it could improve. But it's also something where it's an independent, single-person dev, so I'm much less harsh about those types of things, and it honestly just makes me more excited for the sequel, Citizen Sleeper 2 Starward Vector, when that comes out at some point. So, hi guys. Welcome to the end of the video. Despite being only 10 minutes long, this video ended up being kind of a mess to get together for a whole host of reasons. So, first of all, as I mentioned earlier, I was taking a little intentional break. I wanted to I was on vacation, and I didn't want to, think about or worry about editing videos, because to be honest with you all, I spent a little bit too much of my free time editing that Tears of the Kingdom video. So, I wanted to take a little intentional break, and during that break, two different things happened that changed the trajectory of this video at least a bit. And one of them, a lot. So the first one, as mentioned, I played through the game with my friend, and that gave me some additional thoughts to add. Not too much, but some additional thoughts. And I lost access to my video editing tools. So, yeah. Because I used Premiere Pro with Adobe, and I had that through my university, but I graduated in the spring, and now the fall semester is starting, so they finally kicked us off of that. So I lost access to it, and yeah, so that wasn't great. So this short little video that wasn't meant to be very hard ended up being me learning how to use a whole different software, which was, it was something. I think it's worked out pretty well in the end, but it was not ideal, I'll tell you that much. So, yeah, that wasn't great either. However, there is also a third thing that has occurred, and by has occurred, I mean it happened 20 minutes ago while I was literally trying to get footage for this video. So the soft block I mentioned earlier was a whole thing, and I was trying to get footage of me not being able to get in, and then I touched a thing in the setting. I changed the font size, and that unsoft locked me. What? I don't know how that works at all. However, I'll take it, but I'm not going to include any further gameplay I get out of that in this video, because frankly, the video's almost done. I literally just need to add video over this end section here, and I just kind of want it to be finished. I'll be totally honest. So, what... so... That happened. That's... I don't even know what to say about that, man. What the fuck? But yeah, so that was something also. But now, we're finally done with it. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoy the next video, which will be Pikmin 4. So yeah, I'll see you then. Bye!